Dr. Erin Foley. So, like you, a functional medicine practitioner, national board certified health coach, and chiropractor, Dr. Erin Foley is deeply familiar with the complex hormonal challenges facing women today. But what truly causes hormonal chaos in a woman's body? Is it chronic stress, hidden environmental toxins, nutritional deficiencies, undiagnosed autoimmune conditions, or some deeper, more intricate philosophical disruption we've been overlooking? With decades of experience in caring for patients and clients, Dr. Erin's focus is on helping women stop the hormone guessing game. She is your natural hormone balancing detective. When you see in her logo, her little magnifying glass, she helps women to get to the root cause of health issues and provides relevant and personalized solutions. Because her experiential delivery of expertise is radically different, she educates women around their health and hormones, helping them to learn sustainable ways to be vibrantly healthy and be curious and aware to be their own health advocate. She is a speaker, author, coach, and creator of Body Mind Hormone Reset 10-week program and Jumpstart Weight Loss with Hormone Balance course. She is a regular guest on podcasts and interviews and hosts her own masterclass series on women's health and hormones. Are you ready to stop the hormone guessing game? Dr. Erin encourages note taking, ask questions. She has a presentation. I will be putting it in the chat now. And Dr. Erin, without further ado, take it away.
I guess I need to unmute myself. So can you see my slide? Am I good?
You're good.
Okay, I've got two screens going like Suzanne was saying, and just a little, normally I wouldn't want to talk about myself, but I had a car accident last week driving to Highlands Ranch to speak, which I never made it. It was not my fault. And my brain's a little slow. It's better, a lot better than last week. But you asked me a question, Susan, and I went totally blank. So I have, I have all the confidence and I'll get through this because I've done this many times before and I love talking about this subject. So today I'm talking about from stressed out to blissed out, become your own stress detective and optimize your life at any age. I do have a handout. You can take some notes. You can write some things down. I have some women who just fill the whole thing up with notes. So whatever you need to do. All right, so let's get started. So, okay, I've got to move some things around here. So on my screen so I can see things. Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I want to open with a few extraordinary statistics on women and stress. There we go. So women are more likely than men to say their stress is on the rise. Sorry, I just started my own clock there. And that's 43 to 33% of men. So women are more stressed than men. And family and relationship issues, caregiving, parenting challenges, this can all be a cause of stress. We all know we're going to talk about some of those causes. We're also going to talk about solutions and what you can do. So 50% of women are more likely than men to report feeling consumed by money woes. And for 58% of women are more likely than men to cite family responsibilities and relationships as key stressors in their lives. So everybody on this call knows this, right? Women take on so much responsibility and we are the caregivers. So let's talk about the stressors. What type of stressors? If you recognize any of these, you can put them in the chat or just say, yes, I recognize these. I think we all have them. Family responsibilities, relationships, money, job or career, being an entrepreneur. I'm going to talk a bit about business stress as we move forward. Caregiving for others, injury or illness, mental health challenges. So these are all things that we all have a certain amount of. Maybe you have one, maybe you have all of them. So here's the physical effects of your stress. So first of all, put in the chat or raise your hand. How many of you notice when your family or a friend is stressed out? Type yes if you can notice when your friends or family are stressed. and AC raised her hand. And so I think it's safe to say most of us can see stress in other people. And how many of you notice when you are stressed out? So type yes in the chat, because many times we're not recognizing that we're stressed, or we just kind of plow through it. So I'm going to show you different types of stressors. So if you see one that's the most common for you, put that in the chat. And Suzanne said, sometimes, yeah. I mean, we get busy. We've got a lot going on. So physical effects of your stress can be headaches, muscle tension or pain, digestive issues, low energy, changes in appetite, sleep problems, rapid heartbeat, chest pain, increased getting sick, menstrual changes if you're in that area, or hot flashes. These are a lot of varied physical effects, and sometimes it's easy to miss, like that, oh, that symptom is an effect of stress. And we also have the mental effects of stress, anxiety, worry, of course, we're aware of that, irritability, difficulty concentrating, feeling overwhelmed, low self-esteem, depression, mood swings, all of these things, stress eating. And I get a lot of women who come to see me, and it's like part of one of their complaints is like low motivation. And they think they're lazy, or they think there's something wrong with them. But this can be an effect of stress, and it can affect your hormones. So let's talk about stress and oh, and AC said, yeah, rashes. Yeah, I mean, that can affect your immune system, absolutely, and cause that. Stress and hormones. So, okay, ladies, what do you think of when I say the word hormones? So type that in the chat and let's see what your answers are. And it makes a difference of your age. Like, somebody who's 30 is going to have a different answer than somebody who's 50. Estrogen, moody, cortisol, yes. So you can see, I've heard all sorts of things, irritable, horrible, bitchy, and it depends on where you are in what decade of life you're in. So here's the thing, your hormones are not just about your female hormones. So we've got the tip of the iceberg, and this is where you're going to have your estrogen, your progesterone, your testosterone, tip of the iceberg, because these hormones, your female hormones, are supported by your metabolic hormones. So you have other hormones that are underneath the surface. So it's not just about hot flashes and PMS and perimenopause and menopause. You have other hormones. So you have your adrenal and cortisol hormones. You have your blood sugar. So your cortisol, adrenal hormones are your stress hormones. Blood sugar hormones, which are affected by what you eat. You have your thyroid hormones, which are your metabolic metabolism hormones. And this is whether you're 35 or 75, you have all of these hormones, regardless if you've gone through menopause, regardless if you're, early 30s. It's like you all have all of these hormones. So these other hormones influence your energy. So whether you have good energy or you're tired all the time, sleep issues just came up from Susan. Yeah. Weight and belly fat, metabolism. You have a sluggish metabolism and not sure why. Your mood, mental focus, motivation is another one here I hear a lot of. All of these are influenced by your other hormones. So let's talk about your stress hormones. So how many of you here have heard of cortisol? Put that in the chat or raise your hand. I mean, now I really feel like everybody's heard of cortisol who's a woman, which is really good. Your stress hormone, so cortisol are your stress hormones, which are your fight or flight hormones. So if you are hiking on that trail in Colorado in our beautiful mountains and a bear comes out, that puts you into fight or flight, which is actually a survival mechanism hormone. But for many, many women, if you're stressed every day from all the things, it's like being chased by a little bear every day. If you have constant, seemingly small daily stresses, you can activate, oh, let me get this up here. Cortisol, the big bear. If you're activating your stress hormones, even on a daily basis on a small level, they will circulate in your body for 24 hours. Now, for men, those hormones will circulate for 9 hours. So we have a much more delicate, intricate balance of hormones. And so this can put women in this constant cycle of stress. And let's talk about, what does that cause? Whether your cortisol is high or low, it depends on, how much stress, how long you've been stressed, but it can cause you to be tired and wired. It can cause you to be exhausted and overwhelmed. And those are kind of opposites, but it depends. Tired and wired usually comes from high cortisol. You can have insomnia and sleep issues. You can have weight gain and belly fat gain. I was talking to somebody this week who was saying, my weight hasn't changed, but now it's around my belly instead of where it used to be. That's a cortisol issue. Cravings and stress eating, lack of focus, hot flashes, PMS. So these are all things that can happen, and this is just a short list of what can happen. So let's talk about the cycle of stress. So type in the chat if you've had any of these things happen. But the cycle of stress is something we are all familiar with. So if you have any stress or busyness or overwhelm in your life and you end up, the worry can affect your sleep. You can wake up tired. Then you're tired throughout the day. You may have energy slumps. I hear this a lot, the caffeine sugar pick me up. Talked to a couple women this week who, we looked at their results from the hormone testing and they're drinking coffee till 3:30 because they have no cortisol and they can't get through the day, which actually makes everything worse. They're stress eating, weight gain, not eating healthy. It's hard to eat healthy if you're really, really stressed and you just can't handle one more thing, which is meal planning and getting healthy food. It puts you on the blood sugar roller coaster. You're busy, overwhelmed, and you have another night of bad sleep, and over and over and over. So this is the cycle of stress. And this is one of the biggest things I see women come to me with, because they're coming with like low energy, sleep issues, weight issues, things they can't solve because they're so stressed. So let's move on to how to break the cycle of stress. We want to do solutions and tools. So, first of all, take inventory. So this is the first thing you do, is you take inventory around your health, what's going on with your energy, sleep, mood, weight, mental focus, motivation, exercise. What about your relationships and your family? What about your lifestyle? What about your business? Where's all your stress coming from? I talk to women a lot about this, and they do recognize like there's one, maybe it's one area of their life that's the big stressor. So hormone testing, that's a way of being a detective, is figuring out what's going on, getting to the root cause. Because I think as women, I just see this all the time. Women come to me and they say, well, I did this and this and this, and I'm on the internet and Googling and Dr. Google, and I can't figure it out. Sometimes it's like, next step is hormone testing. That's another way to be a detective. Nutrition plan, how to eat for your body, is another way of being a detective. Supplements, knowing what to take for you and not taking, supplements are really important in breaking the cycle of stress. And I've seen this over and over when we do the hormone testing and women get on the right nutrition and supplements. The supplements can actually get in there really early and provide key nutrients that are lacking to help boost the cells to break that cycle. Lifestyle changes. Do you need to have more fun? What do you need to look at with your lifestyle? So take inventory there. Business stress. Are you running your business, or is your business running you? When we're in business for ourselves, we do, like I think it was Amy who said, yeah, it's hard when you work from home. We've got to have some really strong boundaries in place. And what kind of support do you need? Do you need support from, in your health? Do you need support in your business? Because we have all sorts of wonderful she ladies here who can help support you in your business. All right, so let's go to, self-care. Self-care is what we're going to talk about. This is a really important element of breaking the cycle of stress. Okay, so, all right, so everybody take a deep breath. Let's take a nice deep breath. and let it out. The more stress you have, the more self-care you need, which of course, the more stress you have, the more busy you are. And then sometimes the more you don't schedule it. So this is a really key thing. So let's talk about self-care. So who do you practice self-care, and what's your favorite kind of self-care? Put that in the chat. I would love to see what you have to say. Oh, sleep and play. Ooh, love it. Time alone, working out, walking the dog, massage, stationary bike. Yeah. Oh, love them. Love all of these. Yeah, cooking. All of this. So self-care is whatever nurtures you. And it's about taking the time, because I do actually, I'm glad I have so many answers there, because I do work with women who are so stressed that they don't do self-care because they don't have time. So really, it's like if you don't do self-care, that's the first thing you can recognize. And then it's like, oh, okay, what would I like to do for self-care? So that's another part of the process. And even if it's just 5 minutes or thinking about how to get started. Um, and self-care is anything that nurtures you and nourishes you. Um, so be aware around what you're doing, how you're scheduling it. Do you need to schedule it? What nourishes you? Activities to add in are a big deal. And then here's a bigger deal: what to let go of. As women, we tend to take on so much and maybe say yes too much. So what to let go of? What can you let go of? What can you delegate? Who can you delegate in your family? Who can you hire to help you? And boundaries and saying no. That's a really big one here. Um, it's easier to take back a no than it is to take back a yes. So if you're on a, and so we have to tune into our energy too, about like when we're just like somebody asks us to do something and we might feel, oh, I really don't want to do it. Maybe it's time to take a step back and say no, and you can always come back later. But it is kind of harder to go the other way. Making you a priority. And do you need to get your hormones tested? And I bring that up because I have a lot of women who come to me who think that there's something wrong with them because that they're lazy, they can't get stuff done. And it really is. They have low cortisol or they've got some metabolic issues. And so this helps them stop guessing. Okay, so let's talk about self-care in business. I mean, how many people really associate self-care with business, right? We don't, right? So here's a couple things that I think are part of the self-care. And working from home, we have to be extra careful because we can work anytime, right? We can work all the hours we want. And yet we probably don't want to. So schedule management, this is a big one. How are you managing your schedule? Monotasking, not multitasking. Um, we know multitasking is a myth, and I'm finding with this little brain thing, it's like I can't multitask at all, but I have been in the habit though, um, of time blocking. And I get a whole lot more done by time blocking and doing one thing at a time, putting all my energy into it for a certain amount of time. Maybe it doesn't finish the project, but it's taking that stress off your brain being so full all the time. Hiring help and delegating. We have so many wonderful She Leads women here who can help. So that's another thing, is what can we do to actually hire and delegate? So your business should serve you so that you can serve others. You are not going to serve your business if you're tired and exhausted and overwhelmed. So let's talk about some more practical ideas here. I talked about this a little bit earlier about staying off the blood sugar roller coaster. So one way to to kind of balance your hormones and have better energy is staying off the blood sugar roller coaster. And this is where your blood sugar can swing and be unbalanced. It can be from eating not enough protein, eating too many carbs for your body, depending on your metabolic health, eating too many carbs like breads, rice, pastas, donuts, cereals, high carb foods, if it's not suited to you. And the benefits of balanced blood sugar are steady energy throughout the day, no slumps, no cravings for sugar, reduces stress eating, easier to manage, maintain weight, sleep better, more mental focus and clarity. And one of the things I see a lot is women who come to me who have their own businesses, who are they're not even making food a priority. They may forget to eat breakfast and then they're like starving, their energy's dipping, and then they're just going to grab whatever. So that's one of the things that's a really important thing about like if you're going to prioritize your schedule for the day, you got to prioritize when are you going to fuel yourself because food is fuel so that you have the energy to get through the day. You don't want to be nodding off when you're talking to a client and not being able to focus and be present. So, how do we do this? So, first of all, dial down the sugar and the refined carbs. I mean, I don't have enough time to talk about all the things here, but really learn to read labels and know what you're eating. So this can be packaged and processed, sugary, refined carbohydrates, white stuff. Ditch the packaged and processed foods. That's an easy one. I had one client uh, who, I mean, she stopped eating packaged and processed foods and lost 30 pounds. I mean, it was very, I mean, she came to me to lose the last 15. But it's like this is the effect of chemicals on our body. Eat whole foods, proteins, healthy fats, vegetables, fruits, nuts, dairy, and healthy whole grains. Um, if you can, in your if that's suited to you, but eat whole foods. That's one of the biggest thing to start with. And here's the thing, I'll give you a little tip here. Women need protein. This is one of the biggest things when women come to work with me is that I look at food diaries, we're seeing that usually women are not eating enough protein, they're eating too many carbs, they've got too many random amounts all over the place. One day high, one day low, it's all over the place. So protein, you do need a certain amount of protein daily. Now, why? Because it fuels your calorie burning, your lean muscle mass. And okay, I'm almost done. Helps you maintain a healthy weight, helps balance your blood sugar. And here is a calculation. It is on your handout that it's a loose calculation based on your weight, and you can kind of get an idea. Then what? If you have a number, say you have a number that's 80 grams of protein a day, what does that look like? Well, you can go into an app like MyFitnessPal and just find out, like, okay, how much protein is in 3 ounces of chicken? And you can learn how to um, eyeball it, you know. So really it's about fueling yourself and fueling your body. So, all right, what's your bliss? So that's the question for you to answer. And how can you add more in to your personal life, your relationships, and your business? And, what kind of self-care do you need to add? All right, so that's the last slide, and I have one thing for you. I have some free things for you. So I offer a free guide, 5 steps for women to have more energy, and this free guide is actually more details on how to balance your blood sugar with food. And then I also offer the gift of my time, which is the free healthy hormone call. We can talk about what's going on with you, totally confidential and no obligation to work with me. I do have a brand new free guide that was meant to I have a web guy working on all my stuff because I got a whole new website. And then with the accident, I had to sign off for a week from him. So, but I have a new free guide and it's called Stress-Free Blueprint, 5 Steps to Lasting Bliss. So if you're interested in getting that free guide, just post yes or stress-free guide, and I'll send it to you next week when it's all done on his end. And I think that is it for me. So thank you, and it's been a pleasure. So let me unshare. Okay, sorry.
Thank you so very much. That was the information I really needed to hear today. And I have a couple of questions. I really wanted to just acknowledge something that hit me so powerfully. Easier to take back a no than a yes. And I
Yeah.
never thought about self-care in my business. Uh, I mean, obviously it's all intertwined, but I never framed it that way. So thank you so much for that. It was very meaningful for me, and I'm sure everyone else here, because this affects us all. I do have a question. So when I was looking at the cortisol hit parade of symptoms, I recognized that many of those symptoms are also the same for ADHD. And I wondered, maybe uh, maybe they're intertwined, or maybe ADHDers have a lot of cortisol just because. But I found that truly very
Oh,
interesting.
you can see that there's a lot of varied symptoms that can cross over into many, many, many things. And so that's why the hormone testing is important. But actually, a interesting fact about ADHD is we're finding that a lot of women are getting diagnosed in their 40s, and it is a perimenopause symptom that is very like, oh, we're now recognizing that it's part of the perimenopause issue. That why didn't you have it when you were, 10? It's like, well, because the hormones are changing the way that your brain functions. So yeah, it's all related. So the testing is about getting to like what's causing what and figuring it out. And yes, thank you for mentioning that, Susan.
Well, a wonderful presentation. Any more questions for Dr. Erin?